Welcome to Walking in Circles, a podcast about friendship, creativity, and the lifelong journey of becoming.
For more than 15 years, our group has gathered weekly to play, reflect, laugh, and share life. This season, 5 of us are on a creative pilgrimage, working through Julia Cameron's book, Walking in This World.
Each week, we explore what's bubbling up in our art, in our hearts, and our lives, as we rediscover the creative pulse within and around us.
I'm Chris.
I'm Cameron, and we'd like to invite you to listen in and continue the conversation. Walk with us as we keep learning what it means to be alive, awake, and connected.
Let's begin.
Welcome to week 10.
No.
And the question that everyone will be dying to know right away is, how did we get you two in the same room? Not only on the same call, but you're actually friends enough to be in the same space again. So you want to give a little testimony to the healing of your brotherhood?
Yeah, so Seth
Brothership?
jumped me in an alleyway and he kicked my ass, and so I realized I can't fight him anymore. So I'm here.
Feeling anymore.
Yeah. So I'm here.
Smart.
Kind of like a broken animal.
Yeah. It's broken.
Just
Pretty
here,
pathetic.
drug.
Yeah.
You look
Against
like
your
it.
will.
Thank you.
Maybe like a capybara.
I've been told that.
We may have weeping today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you gave me this chair.
I know.
This is going to be, I'm not going to stop.
People watching it is gonna be like,
Our side of our camera is going to be too.
Just a little bouncy.
Yep, they're great. Seth, do you want to speak to that in any way before we jump into chapter 10?
pretty much what he said. Adam's just pathetic, worthless person. I guess I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
great.
Yeah. That's all I can think of about Adam
And actually-
when I think about Adam.
That's it.
This week is kind of about relationships and friendships, wasn't it? So that's a perfect lead-in.
Perfect.
That's true.
Great example.
So, question right off the bat. Are either of you each other's catcher's mitt, or kind of before, during, or after friends?
These two?
Yeah, these two.
Have you been?
I don't know. I mean, now, obviously, no. But
I don't know. I was thinking about that part, like when I was listening to that, and was thinking about my friends group, and I feel like all of my friends, at least at this point in my life, like you guys, have been friends for a long time. I'm really bad at making new friends. Like everyone's just an acquaintance beyond. Like if I haven't known you for 14 years, then you're just an acquaintance. And but anyways, so I'm like, I don't know. I think all of my long-standing friends are all of those. They're the before, during, and afters in one. Mm-hmm. And I could see maybe shorter friendships could satisfy those smaller parts, but I don't even consider those people friends.
Sure.
But that's just me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I heard recently someone discussing and they're talking about all different sorts of intimate relationships. So it could be romantic, it could be whatever, intimate friendship, close friendship, whatever words you want to use for it. They're saying that a new one of those that's really going to be actually intimate and close, and you're going to be close knit, necessarily, and this is like an average, or I don't know what the stats are, how they got to this number, but basically it bumps 3 people off your list. Because of the time and energy and the effort it takes to develop that new friendship and to get to know each other and to invest and to learn to communicate and all the things that come with really actually facilitating a new friendship. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's connected, but I think I'm significantly more reticent in this season of my life to move people from acquaintance or casual friend or a certain circle of friendship to a more close friendship, because there's a limited population and a limited set of resources in that frame. And I don't know. Maybe I don't want to bump 3 people off that I want in that circle or something like that. I don't know.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like maybe when people because I moved, away, but I still have interactions with you guys. So maybe if I lost all interaction or we talked once or twice a year, then I'd have that need. But I feel like everything's being checked. All the boxes are good. So, like, I don't have a need for more friends.
Once a quarter is good.
Yeah, like I'm fine. So, but yeah. And then the catcher's mitt part of that was that where she was talking about like getting gassed up or being shot down right away with your projects?
I think so. She is like basically keeping you within the strike zone. Like, okay, you're hitting, or this is a little off of what you think.
Yeah.
Not someone who's like totally infatuated with like your work and say whatever you do is great. And it's not someone who's gonna be that negative Nancy all the time
on everything.
Yeah, because I think that she's the example of like she proposed a rough draft, and it's
Right.
like the person's like, well, it's this and that. It's like, yeah, it's a rough draft. And then the person who's like, this is the best thing I've ever read in my entire life. Anyways, I was also thinking about all the friends that I have. Again, a lot of them being in this room. You guys are the perfect balance of that, because I've never once been like felt like shot down in what I'm trying to do, and also not. You don't gas me up. Trust me. So you guys are very realistic and grounding.
We take you around back to the beach.
And BJ throws his mic at that.
I do.
Yeah.
Gas you up.
Seth, thoughts?
Oh, thoughts. Yeah, I did have one, but then that threw me off. It's all
Sorry.
Brett's fault. Gosh.
Sorry.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I don't think you're pathetic and worthless, Adam. I just thought I would go back to that and say that I'm just upset that you have left us. That's the only reason I'm saying bad things against you.
Frustration and
Yeah, that's all.
Grief.
sadness.
Grief, yeah.
This grief
Yeah,
that we mask as anger.
Right, because we're men.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think
right.
Pretty similar. I think like our friend group, and then like you also are.
Wait. Our friend group, and then also you.
And then also you. Yeah.
Separate.
You're no longer part of the group.
Yeah.
More specifically, you,
Yeah.
Adam. I think I've always felt like positive encouragement from you, and then like I think in the past I've always been bad about like criticism, like taking it too personally, and so like I think whenever that would happen, like maybe in the past, I think I'd probably took it poorly in the moment, but then like it was helpful long term for me to like just think about it and mull it over and then, oh yeah, that's probably right. That's fair.
Yeah. And to have relationships long enough that you can chew on it for a while and be like,
Yeah.
not just the reactive part, but
Yeah.
you can be like, that's interesting. There's
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah, I think it was interesting, like being a person on the other side of that, of like giving the feedback about it. You like see, like you say something like either like, oh, that's a really great thing you did, or like maybe like some kind of like criticism you offer them, and then you see them just be like, and then like you don't see any of like the things going on in their mind at that moment, or even like all the thinking that goes on after that in between your interactions, and like you don't see any of that. So like you give the feedback and you don't get anything back from that, so it's just like, oh, I don't know if they like that or not. I don't know. So it's hard to like be that person too when you don't know what they're thinking or feeling about it.
Which person? The person who gives the feedback?
Yeah.
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 Need a little post-op. How did that go? Was that all right?
How'd you react?
Yeah.
It depends on the person too. Some people will give you like some feedback on your feedback, and some people won't ever.
Yeah.
Right.
I've known people for years who I thought like I have no idea. Like I'm thinking of my old supervisor, the director of computer services at Dort. I don't think he ever said if he liked or disliked anything I did.
Yeah.
And I know he did like or dislike some of the stuff I did.
Yeah.
And so it's always a bit weird because, like, you know, I just assume, like, if you need to say it, you'll say it. And otherwise, you don't need to say it. But it's like, no, like, you could just tell me, I guess. And then you know, I could be doing anything else. So if there's anything that would be an improvement, just let me know.
I find that to be, anytime I'm in leadership, I try to be conscious of that and to not just rely on implicit communication, to be explicit, because I find that to be a super waste of everyone's time and resources, because then anyone who's on, a peer or working underneath of you or something, they don't need to spend time wondering, do they like my work? What do I need to do? Being anxious, are you here to evaluate me negatively? And I'm not going to know. It's like, just be explicit. And I don't know, I find it irritating and agitating when working with someone who doesn't ever, or feels that they can't ever.
Or when it does come out, it's when it's come to a head, like it's at the top, and they're like, for the past 5 years, you've done your work this way, and I hate it. And it's like, you could have told me 5 years ago.
I could have
A conversation would have helped at any point.
You're like, I have no idea that you felt this way because you never said it.
It's interesting because I think there's people run the gamut on all the ways that they are about it. Some people think it's none of my business to tell anybody else how to do anything better. I think that's extreme because like at some point we're collaborating and teammates can help each other to teammate better. Like I don't see why you wouldn't participate in that relationship. On the other side, people who think like I'll tell you whatever I want and it's up for you to filter it out or not do anything with it. And I get that too. That's a little bit probably out of the side I land on, but if it's unsolicited, like there's got to be implicit like solicitation through relationship or like relational like or like business like arrangement, you know, like for your colleagues, whatever. So I get that it's complicated, but I think of two extremes. That same supervisor, he would get like they had to do like HR did like yearly reviews, performance reviews, because that's just like part of the culture. And I remember one time he put on there like all high marks, and then he marked one as like could like a lower mark. I remember I told you about this before.
But I've had the exact same experience. I had a principal who did that.
Maybe that's why I said that because then you're like, oh, okay, cool, some feedback, like great. So what is this? Like, can you tell me about this and what I could do better? He's like, no, not really. I just
felt as your boss compelled to give you something to work on. That's exactly the response.
Can you give me like real to do? Because like, you know, like don't just make something up. Because you feel weird about giving me 100.
Right.
Is that it? Come on. And then I feel like on the other side, whenever we were working with like dad or grandpa, and this might be particularly if they have a high regard for you, but they just assume like when they work for each other, they're each gonna do what they saw was best, and they would be paying attention to what the other person's doing and gonna do, but never like making remarks on it or like saying they should do it differently.
Sure.
You know, ever. The person's autonomous and smart, and they're gonna do that thing, and then I'll react to what they do. Or whatever. So.
And that was good? You experienced that positively?
Well, I did, because I think that with Dad particularly, if I had asked for some sort of help, he would offer it. Like for instruction or guidance, like he's never like, you figure it out. Like he was happy to.
Oh yeah.
But he also did make you feel like you can do what
you
seems
think
smart
is
to
right.
you. And that's fine. You don't have to do it my way.
Right.
Sometimes he'd even stop me and say, look, I don't need to understand why. Like I can if you want, but he said to me one time, I don't really need to understand your plan. I'm happy to do this part.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Okay.
That's so much more different experience than I had with the same too. So I think that's interesting.
I never really worked with Grandpa. He was too old and I was too little at the time.
Grandpa never gave any instructions or any feedback. If he didn't like what you're doing, he just would huff and go do it himself. But Dad was very explicit about directions. But I learned to ask him, is this what you mean? What about this? Is this a good? And he would give feedback. And I think he started realizing that was helpful and articulating some things. And that was great. I think the difference for me was they're both highly competent in those domains. And I was working in a domain in which I was not competent and have a effing clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I learned, actually I have the resources of my brain and mechanical thinking are highly useful here. I didn't realize that at first. I was intimidated by it. Get a little feedback. Once you get confidence in the domain, then I didn't need that as much. I could trust those things, but I needed a little early feedback.
Yeah, to be able to build the confidence. And what she talks about too a little bit is like sometimes there are cases which you weren't supposed to have more confidence at. You didn't warrant it.
Yes.
You know, somebody to say like that's not a good idea. Let's not do it that way. You have learning to do before you have a confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that example, I remember a time when I ripped out about 7 or 8 posts because I didn't understand what I was doing with an implement in the field. You also, just as a side note, you look really cute, like a little BJ burrito.
Yeah, Brett burrito.
Yeah.
Say warm.
Yeah.
Warm.
Yeah, my arms are cold.
Yeah, that's good that you need. I mean, I see you have an entire wardrobe next door usually when you're working.
It's a sweatshirt and a blanket.
You don't work in the nude like the rest of us.
And a heating pad.
A little more.
Were you going to say something, Cameron? I didn't want to jump.
Nope.
Okay, I was going to jump back to the first section. I don't actually remember the content of the section, but the title stuck with me, and it's something that I've been working with for a while. It was something about
leave the drama on stage.
Leave the drama on stage. And I think she's referenced it in other parts, or else it's just something I've been thinking about recently. I couldn't articulate where or when. This idea of take that drama energy and put it into your creative work. I've been playing around with that. And I don't know, is that in that section? Leave the drama on the stage?
What is the part I was
It's sort of this, I think it's connected to the idea it's been bastardized a bit, but like leave it all on the field, where people think, oh, it's become this macho, give it all. But I think it's really didn't start as that. It started as this idea that I have like an energy. I am agitated or hyped up to do something or buy something in my life, and I can channel it into a creative endeavor, whether it be a football game or whether it be a writing that I'm doing or a piece of work or some creative problem I'm working on, and take that energy and use that energy there. Even if it's not about that thing, it's energy that's like, it's like charged you up, right? And I used to kind of think of things in terms of it's negative because the sources come from agitation or frustration or anxiety or fear. And I've been playing around in the last few months and with the idea that it's energy is just energy. And I'm just observing I have it. What am I going to do with it? And if I just try to like hold it, or I kind of implode, it doesn't have good responses. But you can actually take that and focus. And so when I've been agitated by family circumstances or something, or on the vacation and things are not going well, even though everything was made to be beautiful and wonderful and everyone should be happy, because guess what? We're human, even when we're in like a beautiful moment. That energy, that agitation, and put it into something like, what can I do? Create. I've been meaning to. I wanted to work on this building solution, and take that and put that like a focus into the thing. And I think that's sort of what that means to me. I don't know if that's what she is saying, but it's just take the drama, put it in the page, leave it on the stage. Take it. If I was an actor, Mark Lewis, my acting teacher would have said, take it into your performance, connect that thing that's in you, connect with that, with your character, with the expression of the thing. And there's something about it that dissipates that, or focuses it, or uses it, or probably transforms it. That's mostly what's happening. But I really like that idea, and I think it's transferable to kind of anywhere. I've been doing it with my kids. If I'm getting agitated by questions or something, I'm trying to notice it, and then seeing how do I turn this into, oh, we're going to do this. And like that redirection, distraction, it becomes like, not perfectly. I'm not like an expert at it, but it is a creative help. It's like a life help. That's what, because it's like taking something and it's transforming it into something that is like actually enjoyable and useful.
That's a great takeaway. I see she's talking about nerves and how we always, as artists, have energy built up, and when we do it, we get such a hit, and it's good for us, and we like enjoy it, and that's part of our process. But then sometimes we get nervous about something, like leading up to a performance, someone might get sick, or leading up to a deadline, it's like tough to work on the book. And she's saying that that's the time to do that work, is because if you're feeling the energy of nervousness, it's also the energy of wanting to do it. So if you leave it too long, it's going to fester, and you're going to be like dramatic, like it will get sick, and that will affect you in other areas, or you're going to be grouchy with those who are around you, instead of you're really grouchy with yourself and not doing what you want to do because you're avoiding it at some level. And she's saying, okay, that's your cue. Get into that art thing. Express it in the other way, in your artistic way. Let it unfold. Let it come out. So, and that's what I remember from most of it anyway. I just read the short part about nervousness. Nervous, we create dramas to make ourselves more nervous. So we kind of, instead of feeding that energy into like our art, we feed it into our more nervousness and our anxiety, and then it can turn on us. And that's when she talks, that's the first section, and the task is the to-do list, which I think is fun because
that was this chapter.
I got back into the
I like that
gratitude list, like more. That's maybe not one of my bingos, but it's like the first thing I wanted to do for this year is to do the gratitude list of 10,000 things instead of 1,000. And it's like 30 things a day. And so I was like, well, if I start with the 10 things, like she says, that I've done during the day or accomplished, it doesn't even have to be that many, but just start there. And then I can kind of pick through those things I did and then what I enjoyed about it or what happened or how it came to be. And I usually have 30 things in 15 minutes or something. And it's not that hard to do that many things. So
I don't think it even takes you 15 minutes. When I've seen you do it, I think it's like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't pay attention enough, but like between the times I look at the clock, it's not that long comparatively. I mean, if you're actually, to me, it's also an exercise of reflection too, because it's like actually being grateful for the things and like looking at the situation being like, oh, I saw JJ say pop today and that was really enjoyable. And she loves the K-pop Demon Hunters movie. And so that's something I love because I can connect with her on that, but also like experience something new because she's bringing it to me and and then remembering the circumstances around it and enjoying my day. It's like it's a gratitude journal. It's a daily reflection and like a chronicle sort of, in a bullet chronicle of my day too. So that's kind of fun.
Hunter and I were listening to this chapter on the drive up, and so we kind of like chatted about it together. But that was like one part that we talked about a little bit was, kind of what you were saying, like the nerves is energy, like the artist being dramatic or whatever is just energy, and it's like you can transmute it, I guess. And for me personally, I don't know if other people have this issue. Someone in the world probably does, but I'm not unique in this. But like, it's hard for me to like recognize that I'm feeling something first, like, because I think that's the first step.
Yeah.
Because I can just be like, I feel off, and I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. But then if I can recognize what it is, and then be okay with the emotions, so like, if something's making me nervous, but like, I think my first reaction is to go, well, that shouldn't make me nervous. That's stupid. So don't feel nervous anymore. And I'm like, great,
Your
that works.
feelings are
So
stupid.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like,
Why
that's
the heck
stupid.
do I
Like,
have
and I've had it like certain times with like work or something where I like start getting like amped on something. I'm like, what the heck? I've done this like 1,000 times. Why am I getting amped? This is dumb. That doesn't help anything. Right. So anyway, so just the recognizing, oh, I am getting amped on this thing. And then the transformation of it, once it's recognized, to go, well, me being amped about this thing doesn't mean I need to do it poorly or be like scattered or whatever. It just means like, okay, now I've got a lot of energy to do this well, or, to focus into what I need to do. So then it transmutes. And there's a part, I had another thing I was going to say about that. I can't remember right now.
You don't need to shut down the energy boost or the
short circuit it.
Yeah.
But truly feel it, I think, is the key for me, because
it's real.
A lot of my life has been.
It is.
What's the word? We named it at one point. Yeah, like suppression, or like not escapism. Like you like act like it's not real.
Dissociation.
Yeah, dissociation, where you're like, I'm not feeling that, and then try to like go somewhere else. But like, I think actually truly feeling it, like letting it wash over and be like, this is what it is, but also not being like, I am nervous, and so that means I shake and I throw up, and it doesn't mean that these things have to happen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just is. Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. The example I was thinking of wasn't specifically nerves about my work. I had a handful of them, but that I've been trying to experiment with. One was a little bit of, a fairly heated argument with a loved one. And it's like, I'm agitated. I can rethink it all in my brain 100 times. It's totally fruitless. Restarting the conversation is going to be even more fruitless. How do I take the drama to the page? Do I want to work on my book? No. Do I want to do this? No. And I was like, I'm going to write poetry. So I wrote like 13 poems. I sat down, and they're all kinds of different types, whatever. But it's just like, I don't sometimes like writing. I don't sit down to write poems regularly. I do occasionally, but it's like that was the right connection for that thing, and I wrote it all out, and then I was done. I haven't written a poem since, but it was just like connected to something. What is the thing it wants to connect with? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just been when we were in San Diego, sometimes I was feeling it was an amazing trip. Maybe my favorite family vacation I've ever taken in so many awesome ways. But of course, it's still like you're still humans and children and like agitated and tired. And people are like, I don't want that to eat. I want this to eat. Like just little things. And it's easy for me as a dad who's worked really hard to like coordinate this thing to be like, come on. We are here.
Yeah.
It is 78 degrees and sunny. We saw 400 of your favorite animals today. You know, but it was just like, okay, I can be agitated. And I notice I am. What might be done with that? And it was like, put it back into like, it was just a subtle little thing, but just be like, look for the next thing. Put that energy into looking for what's the next thing that's right for us? Oh, it's going to be not to press forward and make everyone be happy. Like, oh, you need this, you need this, you need that. Like it helped me to attend to each of my children's needs. Oh, you need this? We can get that here. Can you wait for, 30 minutes and then we'll be good? It's just like, whew.
But also not the denial that you are agitated.
No,
it's
yeah,
not being
absolutely.
like, this is a bad feeling as a father to feel right now.
Right.
It's just like, I do feel it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So am I going to yell at them?
Right.
Am I going to be like, you ungrateful little kid? Yeah. About things that you could be doing right now?
Right.
Well, or just like, it is what it is. I don't know. But there's something in my body, and so I have energy to like, and it was just like a subtle turn to, not immediate, but a subtle turn to, okay, what is opening? If some things are closing, attitudes and stuff, I don't need to like pout and be well, if you guys are grateful, then I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm here to have the best time that I can. I'm reminding myself of that and invite other people to do the same thing. And maybe this would help. How does that feel? What would you like to do this? Or just simply with my kids so often, it's just like, that's really frustrating, isn't it? And they're like, yeah. And that's the same thing that you're talking about, I think, is they're trying not to feel a certain way. And if you just acknowledge that feeling, it's like you're not arguing about whether it's justified or anything. It's just like, it just kind of melts sometimes.
Yeah. Or, yeah. I think for
Not
me,
always. Sometimes it has to work its way through and out.
Right. In some way. But I think there's so many things that influence what we think, like a prescribed way it needs to work itself out. Anger is hitting, you know, or yelling, like, and it's like, no, it doesn't have to be extruded that way.
And it doesn't have to be met with "don't hit,"
Right.
At least like not initially. Like it's like another version of the same thing.
Yeah.
Be like, you're angry, aren't you? And it can sound really condescending, but it doesn't have to be. It's like, yeah, you are. Okay, okay.
Yeah, validation.
In a minute, we'll get to the don't hit thing. But for a second, let's just like, yeah, you're frustrated.
Funny because I have that a lot with Sunny, but also I have that with my wife. So saying that you're angry, it's just one of those inside thoughts. You say it inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know. I think it's funny because I find myself as a parent, just in generally as a person, trying to find strike the right balance between acknowledging that your emotional state and your behaviors they affect someone else. Like, it's not like, oh, I just do me and everybody else is completely their own responsibility. Like, no, you're like a collective to some degree, but also like having proper hygiene about it and, not completely just like checking out and just only taking care of yourself. You can't really do that as a person, especially not as a parent, And so like, what's the right balance? This is kind of tricky. No, it's really tricky actually. And one of the things is, one of the reasons that I think people get real grouchy about when other people make them feel feelings is because they think that I'm not supposed to feel that feeling. But there's nothing wrong with feeling that feeling, I don't think, except for that you decided that's wrong because you wanted something else and you controlled it. Kind of goes back to like a non-judgmental acceptance. You just don't accept that that's how you feel. And so you think that what's happening to you is bad and that the person who inflicted you with this badness is someone you should signal your unhappiness to and be grumpy with. And like, that's not right, obviously. So this exercise is partly just like saying accept the energy that you have and just put it somewhere that you can put it. The emotions are just signals, and they're an experience you have as a human body. They're connected to a meta story a lot of the time, but we have some participation in the meta story. And particularly when we're like consciously saying like, it's okay that I feel this, or that I don't have to make it mean this terrible thing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, it's like I was struck by what you were saying. You're being attentive to your kids. You're not just being like, oh, they're just tired, I'll just let them be. You're actually like reacting, responding to them, like thinking maybe what does this mean for them, or what could we do that might help them to feel better, or whatever. I mean, it's just attending, like you said, attending to them. Because my instinct is to say, oh, shit, they got some shit they're going through. No judgment. And then go on. It's not the same thing as like
that's attending. A them problem.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I always have like a hard time figuring out exactly what the balance is. And with love, like other adults too, friends, family members, my wife, So.
Yeah. I think that, that's interesting. The scaffolding thing is something that I'm learning. It's been pointed out to me lots of times as an adult. As a parent, sometimes I feel like it's been pointed out to me a couple of times that I'm not going to get into how, I guess I was going to that's a whole nother rabbit trail. In my writing, what if they did this instead? And I'm like, oh shit, I should do that in my life instead of the character responding in this way. I'm like, yeah, because they're saying the values you're saying are this, 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 and this. So I think that value would be expressed like this. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know, think about that. But so then putting those into practice, and it's kind of like you were talking about living in the community. So it's not just nothing, like I am effective, but also then it's like that there's a balance that we're trying to figure out in our family of each person is responsible for their own feelings and connected to their own feelings, and we affect one another. But like one of the roles is to just attend, to be able to say to Maggie, you're really frustrated, aren't you? And it's hard to be frustrated, and just let that ignite for a second. And then the goal is scaffolding, like that they have skills to attend it to themselves, and we don't all yet, and no matter what stage of life we're in. So we might need, do you need a walk? Or we can come back to solve this problem in a second, but what do you need first? Do you need, you need a drink? Do you need a breath? Do you want to, go grab a stuffy that you love? Like, what is and you can give some suggestions, and they can usually think of their own that's better than mine, but it's like a scaffolding that's like helping a person to be present with that radical acceptance first. Like it is, for my kids, it's like they have to first be like, yeah, I'm really frustrated, and it stinks to be frustrated. That's the part that's hardest. Not just I'm frustrated, it's the judgment. I don't like being frustrated. I don't want you to see that I'm frustrated. I don't want anyone else to know that I'm frustrated. And those are all consecutively worse than just being frustrated. Yeah. So back it up to just being frustrated. And then what do you want to do with that for a second? And then we can take care of all the other things. And that's what I'm also doing to myself all the time. Like you said, backing up to the realization. I'm already 3 steps into the judgment.
Right.
Before I attend, if I ever attend to, it takes practice.
That's what I was thinking, just you mentioning that, as a kid, they have, less years on this earth to have developed different good and bad ways of dealing with things. But I think as our points in life, I have 28 years of ways of dealing with something that is hard to break. And so I can't even in some cases necessarily name there's so many shadow self things that are saying you're not frustrated before it even gets to my conscience, to where I'm like, I'm not frustrated. What else could it be?
Right.
Because there's so many other things that are making sure I don't feel frustrated, because for however many years, maybe that was a shameful thing to feel, or something that was hidden and suppressed for so long that it doesn't even make it to the factory up top that says this is what you actually are feeling. And so I find that hard. you see it more in others than you can yourself, I think, because you're like, I see you're frustrated, and you're like, hey, are you frustrated right now, Seth? And you're like, no, I'm not. And actually, you saying that I am kind of makes me frustrated. Yeah. I don't feel frustrated. It's like, you are, though. Like,
Yeah.
you so are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With different people, we have to find different voices too. Like you were saying to adults, so it's just like, like a way of saying, that stinks, or I'm sorry, or like there's different ways to connect.
I always wanted to give, like, for example, Sunny, like the vocabulary to identify it more than just instincts, like just say like how you're feeling without making a judgment about the situation, whether it stinks or not. But it's hard because I think the older you, it's not so like, it's tricky with kids, especially with someone very young, like 3 or 4, because they have not developed like the mechanisms for controlling, like for processing their emotions. They're completely overwhelmed. So part of the thing that I guess you're supposed to learn to do and be able to do is co-regulate until they can regulate their emotions.
Yeah.
So dysregulated, they're having a tantrum. You be calm about it, and your regulation of your emotions helps them to co-regulate their emotions until they can learn to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So that makes some sense. You can kind of explain to yourself as like, their brain hasn't developed that yet. It's a skill and also like a mechanical facility they don't have yet. Yeah. With adults or older kids, it's harder because there's a narrative around, not that you are feeling frustrated, around why you're feeling frustrated. And it's complicated now because it's like, it's not enough that I'm frustrated. You see I'm frustrated and you think I'm frustrated with you for this. And that means that you don't accept that I'm this way, and that makes me frustrated, and now you made me frustrated. And it's so complicated. You're like, I don't know if that's what happened or not, but I can't track with that shit. That's way too complicated, especially if I'm frustrated. So I don't know what to do with that. I'm just I can just go over there and be frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means or why or anything anymore, but I can't do this whole like the reasoning that everyone's trying to guess on. Right. Why are you feeling? What are you feeling? Not only, but why are you feeling? And what does that mean?
Yeah.
That part's like impossible.
Yeah.
That part makes me mad a little because if you're in a certain mental state, first of all, there are some things we can see. There's data that's accessible to us to some degree. And not really like 100%, but like every level has a level of sort of like, of not certainty, but like confidence you can have in the quality of your assessment of what's happening, right? I think if you get some skills, you can have a pretty confident assessment of what feelings you're having. It's harder, but you can do to some extent an assessment of how you got to these feelings, like what happened. That's trickier than it seems at first. I think people think, oh, I know what happened. But a lot of times we have the feelings and we go back and we sort of just make up why we got here, and that's actually really easy to do. But then when you're trying to do it in other people, forget about it, man. And so that's hard because you're also still trying to relate to them and care about what you did that affects them or doesn't affect them, or what you might do to help them. But you can't really, like, especially if
you can't.
a little dysregulated, you can't know what they're thinking about what it means or why you did this. So at that point, I'm like, it's really hard for me to help or be here. I don't know anything I try to do. If I try to be like, it's okay, I'm like denying, and it's really inappropriate for the feelings we're having to be like that. But if I'm like, that's not what I meant. Like, I'm gaslighting you. Okay, if I'm like, and I don't know why it feels so, because you said this and it's so true a couple weeks ago. It's like, it's hard for me to do the thing that's like, I know that you are feeling frustrated right now, and that really sucks. That just comes off as like patronizing and weird when I do it. You know, I don't know how to do it in a way that's like me.
Well, maybe that's the second part, because what I hear you saying is that let them theory is like, let them be themselves, let them do or say whatever it is they will do. And you also, that's the thing that Steph has often said about the version of it, I guess, that I've been working with is, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. But you're also saying, but it is my business in that I want to be present with them.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's the let me part, because it's let them be, and then let me figure out what would I want to say or bring or do here to be present. That's not about any whatever it will bring or say or do here. You have to find your voice. So maybe your voice is, you're never going to be a therapist going like, that must be really hard for you or difficult for you. Maybe you're going to break something. That sucks. I mean, you're not going to do that. I'm just saying, I don't know what your voice is, but like, I think part of it is you coming back into yourself so that you can act from yourself as you would act, not as
that's
you
what
should
I'm
act.
doing. I think the thing is I'm trying to act beyond what I would naturally. It is like, it's not different what you're saying. It is, but it's a new way to act from yourself.
It is.
What you said earlier,
it's
which
not
was
dissociation
like,
or
here's what your character did because here are your values. There are these other course of actions that could represent those values even better. And you're not betraying yourself by acting differently.
You're trading.
You're trading up potentially to express yourself in a more true form in a different avenue than you maybe have done yet or would do naturally. But it's not that any kind of expression in that avenue will be true to yourself, because that's not right. It's not. And that's part of the reason I haven't done it frequently, is because it's like, that's really just not me. I don't feel genuine. It's like I'm trying to do a thing. It doesn't feel like helpful to people. But it's like, what can you do? So then you have to know what your values are, and you have to remind yourself of that. And a lot of times they're pretty simple. It's like, most of the time it's just, you need to be calm and accepting, as calm and accepting as you are of them and of your own feelings and your own self. Don't try and do more than you can do. And then just be quieter and you'll be helpful. But it's like, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
If you can gather yourself into sincerely being yourself, that probably is almost always the best thing that a person wants, is you yourself in presence. Yeah. But we get ourselves extended in trying to figure out what we should or how we should or what to do, all that, rather than being
I think one thing I found helpful in that, like with spouses and stuff like that in a household, is like also having this conversation outside of the time it's needed is important. Yeah. Because if you talked about this in just a completely emotionally void, just factual setting, like just like the car ride up here, Hunter and I just chatting about it, is like, hopefully then when it's brought up and like we're acting in a certain way and we reference this or something, and like you do, or we do something that's like trying to be calming or something, it's not like just out of the blue or like whatever. And then also it just helps, I mean, and obviously this is easier said than done, but like both people just trying to, anyone with like a shred of self-awareness, I guess, in that emotional state, like just for a moment being able to, like, I know when you're in like an emotional state, sometimes you're blinded because you're in that, but if for 1 second you can pull yourself out and like just take a look from a third perspective and just be like, oh yeah, I'm being really emotional right now. I don't know. It like has to happen or else, because if you're talking to someone who is in the complete blind emotional, there's no getting through because they're in that. So that has to, like, at least for a second, be able to be pulled out of that.
Certainly. So. And it's not like all adults have the same level of emotional development and skills. Of course, there are people, I mean, you may be dealing with a partner who is gaslighting, or a boss who is like narcissistic or whatever. Yeah, that happens. So those are real things.
In general, I think these rules only really apply to people who are genuine and well-intentioned, to some degree. Like,
it's amazing how simple something can help, though. I'm thinking of Charlie, who's historically been like, I'm not feeling emotions. I'm not mad, even as he's breaking things and like whatever. And like the breakthrough for me was finally for him to be like, well, you're frowning, listen to your voice, how loud you are, and you just hit me and your shoulders are tense. What is your body telling you? And then he was like, oh, I'm angry and sad. And I'm like, he couldn't think of any of those things, but it's like the checking in. And I think that's a common thing that we say, but just, if I can just check in with if I can breathe, if I can come back into my body, it's like crazy how much clarity that can just help you to step out of something. Just be like, okay, before I respond, I can feel my lungs moving up and down, and I will necessarily change my reaction. I don't. It seems so simple and dumb that it's like we're so animal in that sense.
Hunter and I always talk about it. He's like, you always need your emotion wheel. It's like, I gotta pull it out and be like, what am I feeling? Where am I?
But again, that's where I jump to the judgment right away. I'm like, I have to feel my body. I have to breathe. Like as if we go beyond or grow beyond that, or the epitome of like maturity is that we no longer are embodied or something.
Right. We've transcended.
This made me think of a thing. There's a section she's talked about. I think it's in this Friends one with the too early, middle, and whatever.
Friends with benefits.
She's talking about the person who gives her the critique of her rough draft. And I felt that she was a little harsh with that friend, because obviously if the friend wasn't trying
You
to
would
like be
think that.
helpful, what?
You would think
Yeah,
that.
I would, because it made me feel
Tell
bad,
me.
because I've had that same trauma. It's like sometimes the person didn't know what you were looking for, because I wanted to say to her, how the fuck do you think that person's supposed to know you're getting from a shitty draft to a good draft without giving you feedback about it?
Yeah.
They might have been like, oh, this is terrible. They could, obviously, if that's the case, it's like, whatever. But if they're supposed to read the rough draft and point out what's rough about it, how are they supposed to know that's not part of the process of you making it out a rough draft anymore?
Yeah.
You have to, like, give them credit for trying, if they're at all trying.
Some rubric or
I
scope
don't
or
know.
something.
I'm imagining some fake, like, situation that she was in, like, whatever. But at the same time, don't be too harsh to people who give you the feedback you weren't looking for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, you know, at some point you are responsible for what you do with it. And, you know, if you didn't give them clear instructions, even if they do a really shitty job, it might have been the best they could try for. Like, they're just trying to guess what you wanted, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought of you in that, and not just because I'm like, this is what BJ does all the time, but because of the conversations we've had in the past where you're like, you've mentioned that's how you treat things. You're like, if someone asks my opinion, I'm going to tell them.
You know? Want my opinion?
You're right. Don't ask my opinion. And
I'm
like,
so confused.
Yeah. But I did think about that. And I think also it is a little much to put it all on the other person and the way they give it. Like, you're an interpreter of feedback. Like, you also have a job. So if someone you give them the rough draft and they're telling you all these things, it's not you just to sit back and be like, ugh, you're like criticizing everything. Like, you're not doing your job as the interpreter of what they're saying.
Right.
You can take it with a pinch of salt and be like, okay, like it is a rough draft. I know that. You maybe didn't. So I'm going to take what you said and make some changes, but maybe not on this thing, you know?
But it's not like it's static. It's done.
Right.
The end, dead to me. It's what you were saying at the beginning about conflict. If you're giving conflict, you can then come back and say, oh, I was actually looking for something like this, or ask a better question.
Right.
What did you think specifically about this character's development? Or, you know, you can continue to have an exchange. It's not like I gave it to you. You gave it to me.
Yeah.
That was shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is maybe the start of a conversation, which is kind of, well, it's pretty much verbatim. Cameron, when you read my book, we had a lot of this. You heard over.
Deb and I were in there. We had the pleasure of hearing your exchange. Yeah, we talked about it later.
I don't remember the exchange, but we had more than one exchange, probably
Well, sure. 4.
And it was like clarifying. It was like, I realized at some point I did not ask you clearly enough for what I was looking for. And then I think you felt at some point that I was asking you to be like a hyper grammar editor, which I don't care about at all. But I was looking for like ideas and like just like reflection of, is the story compelling? Are there characters that you care about? Are there characters you don't care about? Like, those are, you know, like a different kind of thing. And I had to ask a lot of better questions. And it was, I mean,
I just read that day or that other day, and like within. So I had read this section on the catcher's mitt.
Because you said that to me in the conversation. You said, I don't know if I can be the catcher's mitt that you need for this. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I think because we had started the conversation while we were walking and we were almost back or something, I was like, I'm going to try to say, I think my words were, I'm going to try to say, I said it was good. And that's the last thing I'm going to say with a judgment on it. That's what I tried to do. And then he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you want. And yeah, it was exactly that.
good. That's very good. And it came to a really fruitful conversation that helped me
Yeah.
reformulate several parts of the story that I wanted to develop and seeds of what I already had. But it started with the backward. It actually started worse than that because the first time I was asking for feedback, you hadn't even read the whole book. I was asking you for feedback as you went along, chapter 4, chapter 5, and I realized this is not helpful for you. This is not working for you. He's like, I don't know. Is it down the hill? Is it up the hill? And I'm like, who the shit cares where it is in the map?
I didn't care. I thought you were asking me to think of stuff to care about.
Right. And then I was like, okay, yeah. you read the whole thing, and then we'll come back and see, like,
Right.
do you have questions that were lingering, things that never got resolved? I'm like, that's in the next chapter. Of course, but you wouldn't know that because you hadn't read it.
Yeah.
So
When we were trying to read it and then critique it all along the way, I'm like, dude, I was stuck 7 sentences ago. Where are we? You skipped somewhere or I missed it or something. And that's so hard about doing it real time. Reading versus listening.
yeah,
Just like listening to this book. Like, if you're listening, you go right past it. And you can't, like, sit with anything that piques your brain.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's with emotions too, right? It's like if you're moving so fast, you're going to miss 17 other things until you have a chance to, like, take a breath or look back or whatever.
Yeah.
And so
I think it's been true, like when we've done app development and user interface design and you're trying to do user testing, it's really easy to induce inauthentic feedback.
yeah, skew
And it's the
or
same with any
bias,
kind of
yeah.
thing you want feedback on. And so there's a little bit of a art to it, or maybe a science is a better way of saying it, like where you would try not to skew the results too badly. Because like depending on how you ask it and what state you're in and what you're asking for specifically and how you prompt, all those things affect the responsive person who's going to give you feedback. And so in different ways, you know, I think if you ask the problem a certain way, you're going to get critical feedback that they don't believe.
Yeah, if you ask a closed-ended question like
That's
yes
right.
or no, or what was this specific experience, or how did you find this feature,
Yeah.
they're already 7 steps into their thinking, and so they're going to be thinking about it this way, or they might know you a little bit, and so they're trying to see what information will help you, and that already skews it away from
Yeah.
your
Yeah. And sometimes,
sometimes.
yeah, and sometimes they're you're it's like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Just by asking them to pay attention to their experience while they're doing it, you're changing their experience fundamentally.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely.
So
That's what I was gonna say. Like even you, Chris, saying that you asked, like, do you read this, and then if you had any questions, like, what would they be? Or like, even that prompt itself makes someone, at least me, like, read something and going, I need to find questions.
Yes,
You
I think
know?
that's what that did
And
for
it's
you. And I was just like, I want a general impression of the story and anything that comes to mind. But you were like, I'm supposed
I was
to be
like
looking for
focusing
how
on
to
all
fix
these
things.
details, and
Yeah.
I think,
because that's how you were going about
specificity-
it, and so with me without the
Me,
context.
my own book, yes.
Right. And then so when I was trying to join you in that, it wasn't helpful.
No, yeah. The specificity of it can even make you more dissatisfied than you were. Like, I wouldn't have cared about that at all, but you drew my attention to it. And I don't particularly love it. Or you can spend 30 minutes talking about this thing that I asked you about that you didn't really care about. Like, you might not have got it, but you don't care about that in the work or the story or in the project or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
But you feel compelled to a response because I'm compelling you to
Yeah.
respond to
Yeah.
something. You know, it's
yeah.
being attentive to those things can be a little bit elusive, but it's like it's just part of the
It's part of it. Yeah,
part of the
you're trying to
figuring
sort of
the negotiation, I guess.
It's open ended and sort of
Yeah.
vague, and you maybe you'll make use of it, you may not. It can maybe think of something you were saying at the beginning about how I can't remember exactly what you were saying, but the thought I was having while you were saying it was that sometimes the feedback from somebody isn't meaningless exactly, but it's just like nothing you need to do anything with, and it doesn't mean it's invalid or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a guy, he's very famous for like making really good video games, and basically he said it's like if you're making a video game for everybody, you're making a video game for no one. You need to know who you're trying to reach with this, and it's not going to be everybody. And so sometimes if you ask for feedback from somebody,
Is that the right person?
that might not
Is
be,
that the demographic?
or it might be, who knows, you know, and then,
Yeah.
or they might say something and you might think to yourself, that's valid feedback, good feedback. And then after you sit with the file, you might be like, okay, but there's a certain thing I'm trying to do. And I think it's okay that this happened. Like that this is a thing that people are going to complain about, or that's jarring, or that they didn't understand why you did it, or whatever. Like that's fine.
Sure.
Or sometimes you might say, it wasn't my intention for this paragraph to be really hard to understand, so I'm just going to rework a few things to help them actually like understand what I'm trying to say. You know, whatever the thing is. So there's a real art to taking the feedback,
Yeah.
or not taking the feedback.
Being open.
Because sometimes people say shit, and you're like, "Oh, thanks for telling me that." Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say
Kind of like you don't say that.
Yeah.
all
discuss-
feedback is useful. in a different, like not necessarily the way that it was presented. Like someone saying, I didn't like this is not saying that thing is now bad. Like that's the result of that feedback. It's that person didn't like it.
You're not the
That
audience.
is useful information to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
I think that's interesting. And part of it is graciousness. Even with self, in this example, I know exactly the kind of feedback if I'm asking for a webinar presentation for a software feature we're releasing for JMC or something, exactly the kind of question to ask. Was the pace too clear? Was there too much on the screen? Could you get it all in 20 seconds? I've never written a book and asked someone for feedback on it before. So I don't even know, just patience with myself. It was the same thing with the kids when I started reading them chapter by chapter, and then they wanted to talk about it. So we've been talking about it, and I thought the feedback would come in one form. And so I was like a little bit disheartened. I was like, and then as I rethought about it, I thought, oh, they have all kinds of energy for the story. And they kept asking about this character that only showed up one time. And I'm like, oh, they love this character immediately. This character needs to come back. And I wrote like 4 more chapters where that character comes back into the story. Like that is the feedback I needed. That was their connection point to the story I'm trying to tell. And they're excited about it. I'm like, stop talking about the effing beetle. I don't care. But it's like, oh no, that is the feedback I needed. I just didn't know how to ask the question.
That does highlight, I think there are maybe more than this, but at least 2 categories of people that you test things on. It's probably true in my reflection of like technical things where you're like, basically you're either a scientist and they are a specimen and you're observing them. So you try not to induce any biases. You just like say, like whatever it is, can you read this book? And what'd you think? And if something sticks out to them, you trust that it'll come up or not or whatever. Or you maybe even ask them like what happened and see what they took away from it. You're just trying to like get them to not make qualitative feedback, but just sort of like see what they do. And this, like with like features, you basically sit them down and say like, you're a X and X user, you're trying to do this task, go. And you just watch them, you see what they do. You try to see if, and at the end you might ask them some questions that are hard to observe, like how did you feel? Like was it frustrating? Did it seem like it made sense? And that's one kind of user. And then there's another kind of user who's sort of like, what is it exactly? It's like more editorial, more like a colleague, more like a co-collaborator, somebody you can ask to be like who will thoughtfully say like, what did you think about the prose in this section? Or, I don't know. There's more like an expert, more like an expert person you can ask for feedback. And those are 2 different kinds of, I want to keep wanting to say like witness. They're like an expert witness because you can trust that they have some chops, some thoughtfulness at least, some vocabulary, maybe some experience that you might trust. But if you mix those up, it gets to be really bad a lot of times. So I find this to be the case a lot with like web development. Clients have an idea of the sort of thing that they want that doesn't make them like experts at all in user interface design or usability or anything at all like that. So they think, oh, I'll tell you all of my thoughts about it. I'm like, that's not that useful, but I mean, it's okay that you told me, but it's like, I'm not going to use that to design anything with. That's not the kind of feedback that you get from a non-technical user. So I don't know. Yeah. And maybe there are more too categories. Some people cross over. Those are really
sure.
I don't think either one's more useful than the other. It depends on who your intended audience is.
Right. Yeah.
Because unless your ultimate audience is for experts, you really need to test on people who aren't not experts as well.
Yeah.
Even though it can be really helpful to have an expert's like feedback.
Yeah. Or you can have experts in other domains.
Yeah.
I feel like that when you guys ask me to do stuff for you all the time, I'm like, I'm not a techie. I don't come from this world, whatever. But I know data. Yeah. So you have me try something and you're like, oh, you could do it that way.
Yeah, you could do that way.
You're just like, how would you do it? And I'm just like, I would do this, this, and this. And you're like, oh, neither you or Nate had thought of doing it that way, but a user might. Like, whose data is...
user might, yeah.
Yeah. That's what Hunter does stuff, and I'm like, I feel like I am a really good test subject for like the lowest common denominator. She's like, I couldn't even imagine doing it that way. Yeah. And I'm like, that's the only way I could do this.
I know what task I'm a pro at knowing what task needs to be accomplished, but I'm not at all embedded in this language how to do that thing.
Steph, she considers herself the breaker.
Yeah.
So many times, like, okay, I think this is ready for the Steph test, and she'll sit down. First click, shit. No, don't click that. shirt here. Okay.
Right. Directed.
I cannot think of you doing that, but yes, of course, yes.
As soon as you see it, it's
Yeah.
the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
The thing. Yeah. I don't know if you all have other places you want to go in the conversation, but I just want to say a couple of things that had takeaways from last time have been really helpful. They're beginning. I don't want to say transformative. That sounds too but they're beginning of transformative practices for me. One of them was, and I don't know who of you said it, but something about the idea that today I'm going to do whatever I want. And there's a trust for myself that I'll want to do good things and that things will get done in their time. And I'm playing around with it. And some days, all the days that I do that, it goes really well. It doesn't look like I would have anticipated in terms of time. I'm doing this at 5 a.m. I'm doing it at 9 o'clock at night. And the flow, it hasn't hit regularity for me.
Yeah.
But my presence to my day is beginning to be much better. And the other one was the to-do list, and I haven't texted it to everybody. I think I said I was going to, at the end of the day, my to-do is what I did that day. But I have, not every day, but habitually tried to form a new habit of thinking at the end of the day, what did I do that is my to-do? I did it. I felt good about it. It was what I wanted to do. And that is a really good ending to the day. It's a different sort of even emotional experience to my connection to my day. So that's good. Thank you.
Why is your to-do list a good emotional experience for you?
I think because what I said last time was that I have had for many decades the practice of being a reflective person. The end of the day has been my reflection, but the reflection has typically been, where did I go amiss and what could I do better? And that's a particular type of reflection I'm not going to give up. It's ingrained in myself. I do that throughout the day. But that's it can err quickly into looking for errors and failures, and to end the day with the thoughts about what I did right, however small they may be, and feeling that as a celebration is a fundamentally different emotional experience for me. Did I answer your question?
I think so. I guess I want to investigate the question of why it's a celebration. It feels like a celebration to do to-dos, to reflect. What are you celebrating?
What does it
feel like.
Haven't had the practice of noticing I did things well.
Oh, you did them well. You feel like you did them well.
I've had, yes, things I did well. I have had the practice of noticing what I didn't do and what I want to change, but I haven't had the practice of noticing what I did well.
Yeah.
And
To
where
be
I
clear,
did
that makes sense to me. I'm not I don't understand why. But the thing I'm trying to investigate in myself currently is, in a certain season of life, there's a huge number of things that I would like to do. And I think that if I did them, they would be cathartic to have done them. On the other hand, I've always been and remain to be suspicious of to-do lists that you make so that you can feel good when you check them off. I feel like that's a trap sometimes for certain people. And people are very different from each other, and some people don't operate that at all. Some people love that. I get that. So one thing I'm wondering is, at the moment, is it good for me to think about the thing? Is it good at all for me to think in terms of things I want to do and haven't done yet and have done at all? Or to not think about that at all and just live my life?
So, to be clear, I'm not starting with the to-do list and checking something off.
Yeah, I don't
the
think you are.
to-do is literally just living my day, doing what I want, as I said before, and at the end, reflecting on which parts am I really glad I did.
Yeah, so then adjacent to that end is, for me, in my thinking, I was I would take it to the utmost. It's giving a regard for having done things. There aren't things to do. There's just being. And if I could imagine a world where you think, you're not thinking about the whole world. It's not an ulterior motive. You're just doing it. But you still are celebrating the doing of things as a thing. This is very natural and I think healthy and normal. I'm not saying that at all, but as a thing to celebrate.
Sure.
The accomplishment of things. Maybe that's the wrong way to frame it, as a good thing, And I mean, it almost seems like obviously it is, but I'm wondering, is it, or could I live as though it doesn't matter? I don't know. So I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's
Oh, good.
just an appreciation of you doing it. So it kind of relates to the existential kink to me. It's even if it maybe not be labeled as good or labeled as bad, helpful, unhelpful, whatever you want to say, it was just an acceptance and an acknowledgement that it is what it is. That's kind of what you're saying. In a being, it is a state of being, and that in and of itself is good. It's, I don't know. It's like
your life more.
yeah. It's like I did this, and I appreciate that this is what happened, even if it didn't happen like it didn't happen the way I wanted it to, or it kind of went to shit after that. But I'm like, okay, I did that. Like, I can appreciate that that's what happened, and I learned something, or I can appreciate that it's in progress, even if it's uncertain. I don't know.
Can I try?
think next step of appreciation would then be that the list includes anything.
Yeah.
Not just things that you did, but like things that happened.
Well, that is
right.
what I was going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say the doing is like so interpretive because like you could put on the ta-da, like I relaxed today and I'm very proud I did.
That's absolutely what it is. It's not just tasks at all. I find that they are like, what am I glad about today? I'm glad that so it's a kind of a mix of between the two. There's probably more things on there. It's not dissimilar to your gratitude list. I've done gratitude lists throughout the day, but there's one thing about, specifically for me, there's something about it being the end of the day, some of the last thoughts I've had, instead of them being anxiety and worry or whatever. There's something about it being gladness at the end of the day that is helpful to me. Yeah, sure. The second thing is, they do tend to be not just I built a chair or something like this, or I wrote a chapter. They tend to be things like, even if the action was building a chapter, actually on my to-do list, it shows more up like I spent some time writing and being connected to my writing today. Mm-hmm. There's something that's more about presence. Or there will be things like I sat with Charlie in the dark for 5 minutes before anyone else was awake this morning, and we just played with his Legos.
Yeah.
Or like they're like less accomplishing a task. They tend to be a mix of these things. But it's not totally devoid of the task element, because I think a part of it, I've never articulated this because I haven't been thinking about it, because I was just trying to do the practice because the practice seemed like something to practice. I haven't really evaluated it yet. But as I hear you guys talking about it, I think there's something about it that is my agency in it that is important too. It's not just like it was a beautiful sunset. It's like my agency with the sunset. Something there. I don't know how to articulate exactly what I mean. Yeah. But that's like, it's good. I would even say it's healing, like something in me. And I also think it's lending itself to energy in new ways. I don't know why yet, but it's lending itself to like more of those kinds of things. Not because I like feel good I did them, or being like, I want to get that feeling I want to do it. It's just like an awareness of something. Yeah. And something held in my attention. Yeah. That is both, it's not totally passive because there's an agency on my part that's significant. Like I'm joining something that I want to join. And there's also like, these are things that I like not, that are there. They're like openings in life that I'm like something with.
Yeah. So the checklist isn't itself in this particular representation. It's not a thing itself. It's external to you. It's not like things that you want to do that are external. It's like little holes that you can see yourself through. The little check boxes are actually places where agency is seen through. And
I mean,
that's a celebration.
And the opposite is also true. I mean, they are external things on there. Like I'm really glad when I got an outlet wired that was up.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't mean the literal thing is there. I just mean that the task, if you want to frame it as a task, is not seen as a task. It's seen as an agential manifestation. You know, that's a different characterization of what's happening. I guess I'm saying what you're doing to me sounds like connecting with yourself. It's an internal celebration of agency, not attaining to an external framework of like achievement or task.
Probably connecting to self and like the world, I guess. Yeah. That sounds kind of too
But what you're saying, Brett, I'm thinking about it like just like as if running through in my head, me doing it. I'm like, yeah, that's so sneaky. Like I feel like it would sneak in the way, kind of like what you're talking about, where it's like the tasks, the doing, the checklist, to feel good about the checklist.
And who cares if it does?
Yeah.
I do, because I think over the long term, it steals a lot of...
But isn't that prejudgment?
No,
it might sometimes.
Yeah.
It might sometimes.
I guess...
No, it's experience.
Well, if you notice it, okay.
I care if it does when I start caring that it does.
Well, isn't that the thing, though?
Yeah, like if
isn't that the thing we're saying about all the emotions that we have? And it's like the judgment of the thing is harder than the being frustrated.
Well, this isn't an emotion
Yeah.
I'm regarding. This is a mental orientation toward dividing my experience of my life up into things I should do that are
Sure.
not expressions of myself, but things I should attain to. That are,
Yeah, if it's too reductive to like a task list or a
Yeah.
set of items, sure.
Yeah.
they can certainly connect to tasks and
Right.
lists of tasks even, but it's I guess it's just almost like it's a different approach, I guess, a mental approach to it that changes my regard for it.
Yeah. I also have been trying to actually, and as you're saying this, you're just calling. I didn't consciously do any of this. I've just been trying to experiment with the practice. But as you're saying, I realized, there are things back there that weren't conscious that are sort of semi-conscious. Like I've also been trying to not, I personally don't believe in long lists. I find them to be, I've seen too many times where like a 45 item list is, to me, it can read. It's not always, I don't always know what's going on, but it can read as like something that's mentally not well, something that's not adjusted or situated. It's like it's like a grasping of trying to work something out.
Scattered or unorganized.
Yeah, and it's a desperate attempt at like pseudo trying to do something that you that's not useful. No one can ever use it, but it's like something you're trying to accomplish by listing it all out or pretending like you might do them, or I don't know what the thing is. So I like believe in like lists of like 3. I don't hold that as a sacred number. That's just what has floated up, and I'm making it conscious now. By saying it, I've never thought of it, and so I kind of think in terms of 3. What are the 3 things today? If I'm making a list, I try not to put more than 3 on it. Mm-hmm. And if I am on my tada, my reflection, I guess I've been, as I'm becoming aware right now that I've been kind of looking at 3 things that were moments of beautiful agency, like a beauty and agency, beauty plus agency, that feel good about that day. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And Kim, you said you're doing your gratitude thing, but are you also doing the tada things as well?
It's mixed in.
Okay.
So it's like, what
It
did
sounds
I
like what you
accomplish
explained
today?
is that pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a recognition of what I have done today, achieved, what I have observed, and what I'm reflecting on my experience, and really like having an appreciation for those things. And just keeping an awareness to life and doing that.
Presence.
Yeah. And
Witnessing.
and it's more for me, maybe I'm not thinking that right away. I am trying to make a list. I am trying, like 30 things is my goal. But really, it just comes into like using the to-do list, and then it kind of snowballs into like, okay, small observations and picking things that stuck out in my mind, I guess. I guess I noticed the other day that I missed a couple of things that I appreciated about playing a game, and just some of the experiences. Like, I guess I jumped past it when I was listing my things, and I'm like, oh, well, I did. So then I wrote it down the next day or whatever. And so it is interesting. I'm only, this is the 10th? I'm 9 days in. So I usually do it before bed. And that's what
I don't see what you're saying as a counterpoint to what I'm talking about at all.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like I don't believe in that kind of a to-do list. I'm talking about task lists and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've fully participated in the gratitude thing, and I've done 12,000 items or something. I'm not actively doing it right now, but the way I experience that is it's a way to be present to my life and to make myself more present to my life. Just sort of like a check-in with your body. It's like I can feel my breath, I can feel my feet, I can feel my seat. Like that's kind of a check-in with my life and the daily thing and the gratitude there. So
Do we have time for another topic from the chapter, or is it?
yes.
Okay. She said that you need.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. I just say yes.
He said that you need the before, during, and after friends. I don't know exactly where this lays, but I think sometimes as artists, aka whatever we are, whatever we do, there are some times where maybe it kind of matters to us for one reason or another. Maybe that's egotistical or maybe it's valid or vain. I don't know, but whether we're good or not at it, whether the project is good.
Oh yeah, she talked about that in the Good to Be Growing or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So one thing I've thought about frequently is that I think it's useful to know if you're good or not, and I think that obviously it's not like a static thing. Like somebody who's like not generally good can produce something amazing. Like that's not like people who are good do good work, people who are shit do shit work. Like that's not exactly how it works. But being able to soberly judge the quality of what you've done is like, it seems on the one hand like you're not supposed to care about it. Like you know, like there's something in me saying like you're not supposed to make that judgment.
Or I don't know.
You're just not supposed to care. You're supposed to like do your thing, and then like whatever it does, like that's not up to you. You're just an artist, and you release it.
I think yes, but I also think she would say that's the thing. I was just reading it because I was going to bring up the same thing. Is also we're not trying to be like the perfect thing, and we're not trying to fit someone's mold for one. Maybe not. But we're trying to fit our own. And so we're trying to describe ourselves and our emotions more accurately. So we're always trying to improve on that method. And sometimes the method that we're using is inadequate after a bit. She references a violinist or someone who goes to a teacher and that teacher is a good teacher and says, oh, you should be moving on from this instrument. You're exasperated. You've done all that you can do. You need a different expression or something. And so I find, I don't know, for artists or things that we build, like there is a need for some objective like usefulness to what I'm creating or what is happening. And then also, is it accurately reflecting what I want? So maybe I'm not creating something for someone else, but I'm creating it for me. And is it accurately reflecting what I want to do? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Actually, I hadn't gotten around to saying anything yet. I was setting the stage. That's kind of where I was going. I guess I was going to say, well, you gave me like 3 things. What was I going to say was like, on the one hand, that thing, like we're not supposed to care or something, but I think also like I do care.
Yeah.
As a person who takes what I do seriously and does desire to do good stuff, I'd like to know what the quality of my product is so that I can at least know I've got these opportunities to improve. Maybe I don't need to keep doing this thing. I can give up on it, or I can have some confidence that I do produce good shit sometimes. Or I'm capable of that.
Good shit.
And so sometimes I'm like,
Golden.
we need it. I don't know, but it's also that's as the experiencer, but as the person, on the other hand, who you would get that feedback from, there's like 2 types, right? First of all, there's like people who are obligated to give you positive feedback about what you did. Like your mom is the classic thing. Mom would say that whatever I did was awesome or whatever. Your grandmother, she's going to say what you did was amazing and that you're amazing. And you appreciate the moral support, but you don't take that as like an actual like, oh yeah, my mom says I'm good, so I'm going to live my whole life. And so I produce like the best stuff in the world. So there's that kind. And I think that's the kind that we frequently feel compelled to be to most people in our life that we care about. I feel like the person who's like, I am kind of like simpering and weak, and I need you to tell me that I'm good so I can keep on going. But that's not the vibe, though. But I do actually like hit me with it. I want to know, is this good? Yeah. I think it's actually pretty good. Obviously, I suspect it's good enough to keep going because I keep on going. But sometimes I'm trying all kinds of things and doing all kinds of things, and it's a circuitous sort of like way of getting there. Is this working? Anybody? Can anybody tell me? Is this working at all? That's what you want to know.
Right.
And so there's not much framework for that because I think people are sort of trained that you're not supposed to give people that kind of feedback because you'll make them arrogant. Or you'll be like puffing them up, blowing smoke up their ass or like whatever. And so it's like, it's kind of hard to get like frank feedback. Yeah. People either withhold it because it's too good or because it's too bad.
That's right.
Or some other reasons. And I was just thinking about like in our business, I've never felt more happy and more empowered than when I finally figured out what it is that we do that's distinctive from other people, that makes us really good at certain things that other people aren't as good at. That's super empowering.
Yeah.
It takes a long time, and if you're by yourself, you kind of have to suss it all out. But I'd love for someone to tell me. Of course I would. what's really cool about what I do that's different than others. And it's funny, like, obviously I'm egotistical and I want to hear that, but it's like, but I do, though.
But it's hard.
I'd love to tell every single person in my life what things that they do, that they care about, that I think are distinctive and interesting to me, and which things are like, maybe that's not your strongest point.
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
Not going to.
Oh, what?
Isn't that what? The other thing
I think that should be your homework.
It's an important,
Please.
maybe even sacred activity, and it should be taken very seriously. So you shouldn't give it flippantly. If it's gonna mean anything, it shouldn't be flippant. Yeah. But most people, I think, in our lives who have any experience of our product, who care about us and have paid any attention to us, which is maybe not very many people, because like no one pays attention to your shit that you care about like you do. Like there's no possible way.
Right.
Could have some regard for it and give you some good feedback. I think that would be an important thing. I don't know how to foster that exactly, but
I think too, an important part of this conversation is like, for me, like I can separate like, if it's something I do purely for art or enjoyment and something that I might tie an identity or even my money and my financial well-being to. Like, I think I would rather, I need feedback if I'm good at the things that are the identity or the financial well-being parts, because it's like, if I'm just delusional in something and I need to know, if I'm good or bad at it. But if it is something purely for art, I don't really care at all. Because I built this bench thing it's a bench for our dogs on our window so they can look out, and then also has like a rack for shoes underneath and some other things. And every time I look at it, I laugh to myself because it looks like a Dr. Seuss book. I built it with the most warped lumber in the world. It is so lopsided, but I shimmed it just right to where it's steady, but it looks hilarious. And I don't give a shit because like it doesn't matter. I didn't build this for money. I'm not selling these things, and I am not calling myself a woodworker. And so, but anyways, so like to that point, if someone did anything that they say to me, if they say that's really good, I'll say, oh, thanks, because I do feel good about it. Like I like to laugh at it, but I do feel good that I built it, and I built it because it made me feel good. And then if someone says that looks really bad, I go, yeah, it's also really bad. And so I don't really think in that case with that specific like art example, it matters.
Yeah. I guess I mean by art is craft in this particular case. None of us really are relying. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not relying heavily on like an artistic endeavor to pay my bills. I am thinking of my craft. You said this too just a second ago. Is the other thought. It's like it depends on who you're making it for. Right. If I'm making it for me, I already have all the feedback I need. I know how I feel about it. That's fine. Like I don't need somebody to tell me if it's good or not. It's for me. I know how I feel about it. That's fine. Right. It's just when there's something that you want to share with someone else. Right. Generally, it would be fun if you cared about being effective with that. It's like if you're not trying to be effective, then it's nonsense. Like you're saying, you're not trying to be like, oh, I made a fine. Like that's not what you're trying for, so that doesn't matter. But just say that you like. I'm looking at these right here. Right. There is something I love about this. There's something about it that's amusing, and as I've been thinking about it, I could probably say a few things I think are fun about that are special about that. The artist may not care, or they might care. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I would like to know if there's a thing I do that people find to be notable, interesting, annoying. That's in regard with something that I want to share with people and have them appreciate. I'd like to know, how did this hit you? Because if it hit you poorly, I said, oh, that's interesting. Maybe, or it had no effect. I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Or if I said, Brett always has this weird way of doing it. Whatever he does, this is totally made up. It's like, whatever you do, it's like a little bit weird. I'd be like, okay, cool, interesting. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to lean into that. Because I think people who are really exceptional at something usually have an idea of what they are. I have to imagine at some point they had a thing that they realized this is kind of my special thing. Maybe not my one special thing, but a thing that's sort of special. And they really leaned on that. They really went at that thing. And I was like, oh yeah, but how you couldn't know to do that unless you have some sort of innate sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe this is too abstract, but I'm just saying, doing some art like this. Jeremy has a certain, here's an example. Jeremy has
listeners, he's referencing the childish drawings that I have made based on a famous artist.
I don't think they're childish at all. I don't think that they are actually. I'm not even just saying that. It's like there's something they are exactly how they should be, and I think that's delightful. Mm-hmm. I could probably come up with some reasons why I think, and if you cared about that, you could like also appreciate that about them or not, whatever. But it's like there's a certain thing about it that's like has a little bit of spark. Mm-hmm. I want to know where does anybody else sensing any spark in this or that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I want to like double down on the spark.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I would love to do that in all my stuff, because if you have that feedback in any realm where you do care about like producing like a spark, I've got all these people who I know and trust telling me, triangulating where the spark can come through. And then that's the thing. Because I know that when I'm making art, a lot of what gives me satisfaction about it is discovering a spark. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I just think it's like, well, if someone else give me some feedback on this, it's just me. Because to some degree, like, it's perfectly fine to do art and do stuff just for yourself. That's perfectly fine. But if it's all I do, I feel like I'm masturbating.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
I want to share it. I want it to help other people. I want to spark things. I want to share the experience with the people, etc.
Yeah. I think all the things you guys are saying, I hearing them as overlapping. I think you're right. You're creating something, but I think that's part of it's also connection where it's shared. It's like there's a co-creation in the thing. If someone else sees a spark, then that's co-creating its own thing. Like there's something that happened there between the thing. And it's at the beginning you were talking about the upgrade of the instrument. If you have a violinist who's playing 3/4 violin and they're ready to move on to the new instrument, that's actually a decision point too. It's when you were talking about it, I heard it as a different rubric. It's like, okay, I've done this thing and now I'm ready for a new rubric. I need to understand what is the new goal. Or sometimes you're done with it. Sometimes it's like, when I'm ready to move on, I mean, I had a gymnast who I was coaching who was that way. And it's like, he's really good. He's recreationally having a lot of fun. The thing is, at this point, it's kind of like the way to get better is you either going to commit and start competing and trying to meet certain skills and master certain skills. Well, I mean, that is like the pathway to like something along those lines. And he kind of said, he quit instead. And I was like, okay. Earlier me would have been a little offended by that. I was like, but you're having fun. He's like, yeah, but that's what I wanted to do with it. I wanted to get to that point where I had some level of competency and like kind of, he didn't say it in these words, but that's what I heard from him. He was a bit younger, so he's not saying that way. But he was like, okay, well, that's what you wanted it to be in your life. Great. You don't need to be, he didn't want to be an Olympic gymnast. He wanted to have some competency and learn some things and have fun and like explore what he could do with his physicality in some way. That's sort of great. And there are all these, but at the same level, he was wanting to know if he's good. He wanted that feedback all along the way. And he's like, and that's good enough. I don't need a new instrument. I'm not ready for it. I'm not going to take on a new rubric. I'm not going to, I don't care about this enough to be like training and competing 8 months a year and to commit another $1,000 to like buying the outfit and registering for the events and that kind of thing. No, I got what I wanted from this and this is a good thing.
That kind of reminds me of a similar conversation Hunter and I had on the way up, also spawned from this book, but that was like, I think also that realization, being real with yourself is super important, because I think there are so many people like him that don't say that and just think that the right answer is, I guess the next step is to be this. And they're like, and they're lying to themselves saying, I care as much as this other person over here. And they don't. And their actions show they don't. And it's like they're saying they care. Their actions say they don't. They're not showing up to practice. They're not doing the work and all that stuff. Yeah. And it's living like a
shitty about themselves. Yeah. They don't do as well because they don't care.
They live a double life. And I don't know. You see it like what you make time for is what you care about. And so you can't say like, I very truly care about this and you're not making time for it, because you don't care about it. And that's okay to not care about it. I think that's the important thing, is to say it's also okay to not, you know?
Yeah. It's time to switch that energy is what she's saying.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, you're stuck. You were getting good at this one thing, and the way for you to continue to get better is not to keep doing this thing. It's to do something else. So like if he's a gymnast now, instead it's time for him to play basketball or whatever and use his physicality. Yeah, whatever. It can be adjacent, it can be not, but there's a way to use the skills you learned to do something else, and that's just good for you. and it's like it's necessary for your growth and for your engagement and for your enjoyment.
Yeah, I do resonate with what you're saying though too. At whatever level, like I would like some sparks. To know what sparks from you guys. I like that language in my book that I'm writing. Also though, like I'm glad that you commented on that. I laid them out because I wanted to see them all together, not because I was inviting. But I'm like, I did it because I was inspired by this artist. It was a thing that was interesting to me, and there's something I was exploring here I'm again referring to these sort of drawings based on a portrait. It was called A Terror of a Girl. I thought that was interesting. And I thought, these are people in my family. And the exploration of it helped me to see something. And seeing time with each one of them, I don't know if I captured it or not. I hope like it's interesting in some level. I don't even care. I'm like not looking for like I'm not. But I was like, I'm either going to do art lessons and give me an arbitrary assignment, which is a way to go that's sometimes interesting, or I'm like picking this thing that was interesting to me, a work of art, and I'm sort of like replicating it, and I wanted to do it 10 times. The others are on top of the thing because I didn't have to lay them out. And like when I drew Charles, I spent some time with Charles in a different way. And for each person that's there, Maggie and Mikkel, and like each of the people that's sitting there, and there's something about that was like, yeah, dude, like I don't have a artist level rubric I'm looking for feedback on, but like, is there some interesting sparking thing? I would like to know you're on that level. Is that interesting to you at all?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess, yeah, that gets close to what I'm saying, because I don't think, as an example, I don't think you're looking for technical art feedback.
No.
You're asking for people who would look at it, if there's anything that sparks or you find interesting, what is that thing?
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing like for the websites or whatever. Like y'all aren't professional web builders. I don't need you to give me a technical review. I want to know, like, when you look at the shit I make, what do you feel? What do you think of? What sticks out to you, if anything? And so like when I look at these, like, yeah, I don't care. I love looking at people's art when they make anything actual, when they're not just doing that thing by rote where like, I didn't know how to draw like a cat, so I do like these lines or whatever, like not that, when they're drawing something. There's something just so fascinating about what they choose to do. And I think there's a spark there. When there's anything at all, I think it's interesting. I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
But that game we played the other like month or 2 months ago where we made like a little comic book, like a 2-frame comic book or something.
Oh, yeah.
That was so interesting. Everybody's was so interesting. And I think when I look at these, and the fact that there are more than one makes it even more interesting, because then you can see things across them all. That I find that to be interesting. Anybody's creative output, it doesn't have to be like their trade.
Yeah.
Some of their voice comes out in anything that they do. So some of it's just like a feature of this output, whatever. It's not a feature of you. It could even be an accident. That's interesting. Some things are like, it's a little bit of a smell. It smells like Adam. He did a song. It smells like Adam. He did like a get together. Smells like Adam. I think that's interesting. And so I think, I could come up with something. I don't know if any of it means anything or is emblematic of anything about your style as a whole or anything like that. But that's sort of what I'm talking about. If there was more time we could spend telling each other things that are interesting about each other, it's like a circle jerk, but it's like, I think that would be life-giving. Don't you want to know like what's special about you so you can do that thing and feel confident in that thing?
Well, yeah, especially if it's something that sparks other people. It's your own spark, but then it's going to catch. It's not like in the wet rain, like you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It doesn't feel life-giving. But if you can spark the life in other people or get your flame to spread, you don't care what it looks like when it moves, as long as you got them there or that they are enjoying it and manifesting it in the way they like it.
Yeah.
Then it's exactly what I would like.
What you think I'm thinking of is exactly what I'm thinking of. Actually, it's like in sex, you like, it's a little bit like, is that doing it for you? Because it's like you want it to do it for them. You know what I mean? So you like pay attention to what's working, and then you do that better and more. And like what's not working, like maybe not that. We'll shy away from that. in life, though.
Yeah.
It's not like weird. I mean, it is weird. Maybe it's making it weird. Honestly, I'm making it weird. But
It's energy.
you're kind of having sex with everybody that you share something with. But it's not that. It's like, that's the that's that thing expressed in sex, but it's like that thing expressed in other kind of creative sharing.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like, is that doing anything for you?
And I think, to me, I think there's something. I was thinking about, you talked about circle jerker. There's something about the climax that feels like that's over and done, sort of a thing, and that feels different. It's a little more substantive, a little more like, I think it's
Enduring.
If we're talking about sharing art or work, it's a little bit more like, it's not just like a moment of climax and recovery. It's actually, I think, more like substance. It's more food for future creativity and better relationship. It's maybe grounding. It's material. It's something else.
It's adding.
Yeah.
It's an upward trajectory. It's building something.
Building.
It's not like high and low, like you're saying. It's a steady upward. It's projecting. I don't know. I had a different word when you were saying it.
In the Trinity or Trinitarian speak, I think it's the ground of being.
Yeah.
It's like actually participating in, like, from this will come forth, will be spoken forth other creation. It will come from the earth, like from the dust, Like, there's something is participating in that in some way, actually, that there's future creation, that it feels to me less of just like a little not that sexual connection isn't like, sexual connection is about that. Ultimately, a good sexual connection is about relationship, and it's about expression, it's about exploration, it's about all these things. But it's not like circle jerk. It seems like those kinds of terms seem like they're just like throw them away kind of thing. It's not. I think it's more substantive than that. I think it's more of like,
what is the circle jerk? Oh, circle jerk makes it feel
or
that way.
or when we say masturbatory or like this kind of thing, I think it is more real than that. It's more really connected.
To be really clear, I'm saying it is more than that. I think the one reason that people tend to shy away from doing it is they feel ashamed of that because they think it's superficial.
Yes.
Or it's just like you're just trying to make each other feel good. Like that. It's like superficial.
Like if the product was that, because we shared more of the work that we like in the spark that we see in each other's work, is that we produced 100-fold more of that in the world.
Yeah.
I feel like that is actually what a community is supposed to do.
Yeah.
That is actually, like, that would make the world better. If we could get into communities that helped us to do what we do well with more spark and better, and like fed that thing. So now, like, Seth walks out with more clay, more ideas, more like, because when you say what was sparking about Seth's work, he is immediately thinking of other, like, it necessarily propels itself.
Absolutely. And makes people more distinct, and that's more compelling, and that compels them to do more things, and those things are more distinct. You're polishing and cultivating a more distinct, like almost like personal brand. You're going to take that to everything that you do ever, etc. You know, and the more people are going to encounter that, and it's going to be sparking them, and
I think there's an important distinction too with like that, trying to like feed everyone's flame. I think, like, obviously just on a relational level, like with friends and stuff, the outcome doesn't really matter. You just want your friends to be the best persons they are. But I see this, I think, on like business or like corporate levels. They try to mimic it seems, but they also want a specific output. And it's like you have to foster the environment that you're okay with whatever comes out of the output. Like, because each person is so different, you can't think that you know what it's going to be or have like an idea of what good and bad is. You have to be okay with whatever the thing is that comes out at the end. And like, just, I don't know, I've seen it a few times where like a good environment is fostered where you don't know what's going to happen. You just you add the fuel sources as needed, and then you let it run.
Whatever will come.
And you're okay with the outcome.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I saw an article that showed up. It was about Amazon now asking its employees, and I have no idea if it's true or if it was just clickbait or whatever. I mean, it was a reliable source. It was USA Today or somebody. But it was like Amazon is asking its employees to list out their accomplishments in the last year, and to basically justify the use of time and resources, and And I thought, that action is such a fucking waste of time. That you're going to have them worry about it and spend their energy at the start of a new year on trying to justify whatever they did in the last year. That is, you couldn't ask for more of a waste of time as an assignment from a company than that. You could have everyone, and like I said, I don't know if that's a fair
but that
assessment
is a good
of what's
example.
actually happening, but that is what I hear when what you're saying.
Yep.
Anybody have some last thoughts? Because we are probably at the end of our meeting for this week.
My last thought, we don't have to go in a conversation about it. I just thought it was a funny thing. The one part she talked about where to call a friend to say you're going to do something and then call them back and say you did it.
Sandwich phone call.
Dude, what if I did that to you guys?
Yes.
How insane would that be? I called you the other day, Chris. And I thought you answered and you were so confused, it sounded like. I've probably called you 3 times in my life. And so I was like, I'm going to call, like, what if I called you, Seth? I was like, I'm going to build a bookcase. And then I hung up. And I called you in 3 hours and said, I built a bookcase. It's like, you'd probably think I was like,
yeah.
No,
I mean,
but
in that moment, I was confused because I was trying to solve a problem. We were trying to wire it.
I
and
think
we were
I
trying
caught
to
you in the middle
learn
of something,
while I was like reading and contemplating how do we solve this wiring problem?
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't about you.
I did feel like I caught you in the middle of something, but I just thought of that concept when I heard that. I was like, my friends would think I'm insane or I'm like about to like jump off a bridge or something.
Man's really struggling.
Yeah, I just thought it was a funny idea. So I might do it.
Voice memos. Stick to the voice.
Yeah, the voice memos. Yeah.
We'll give you a
I
thumbs
was
up.
like, he's stranded somewhere and he couldn't get a hold of Seth.
Have I ever called you?
I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever called you on the phone.
I don't know if no.
I don't think I do.
I think you may have.
I don't have your number.
No, I think I've called you before because like we've skied.
Facebook Messenger gets rid of all of that. That's crazy. I do have your number, barely.
You too. You could just
I know. I could walk
confession
upstairs.
time
And
at
just
the
talk
end
to you.
here.
Yeah.
I don't have your number.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Even when I
It's
hit
'cause
dial on yours, I was
passed.
not confident it was your number. I was like, this is going to go to like someone else's or
I
something.
have no idea.
phone from 4 years
This is a friend of mine.
It's so funny.
Same thing happened to me today. I called him.
Yeah.
I had 4 different numbers. I was like, this one I guess.
Yeah, like I
for
think
Nate.
I still have yours saved. I have your old iPad text now number like as one of them, and I'm like, which one's Seth? We'll guess. And I get your mom at home.
On her iPad.
Yeah.